What's up, everybody? I'm Mckenty. This is my second channel where I talk about business and marketing and personal development, other kinds of stuff that's not really a fit for my main channel. What I wanted to talk about today is this story from Alternative Press about Billie Eilish. She partnered with H&M to drop a sustainably sourced merch line. So I wanted to talk about this story, a couple of other stories that really are part of a larger trend that I'm seeing where musicians are understanding that they're not really musicians, or they're not just musicians. What they really are is influencers who happen to play music. I think she is doing a great job of taking advantage of this very early in her career, but I wanted to share some other examples of people that are doing it and, of course, talk about what it means for you. This is something that anybody can do, whether you are Billie Eilish or you're just some person at home like you or me. Billie Eilish partners with H&M to drop a sustainably sourced merch line. The line features everything from oversized t-shirts and sweaters to joggers. The best part is they're all made from sustainably sourced materials. The new line features an array of clothing that takes huge inspiration from Eilish's iconic style. Billie Eilish is obviously an inspiring artist, but also someone a lot of people around the world admire for her personal style and empowering way of expressing her values. We want to enable her fans to step into her world and feel empowered to freely express their style as well. Why would you partner with Billie Eilish? Well, because as this person is saying, she's really the role model, the aspirational lifestyle figure for a young artsy girl in 2020. Just the same as like Dan Bilzerian is like the role model or the aspirational figure for like douchebag millennial dudes. She is like the equivalent of Dan Bilzerian for like young, like Gen Z artsy girls. There's a difference between being just popular and being influential. There's other people who are super popular, but it wouldn't make sense to do a clothing line with them because nobody necessarily wants to be like these people. Scarlett Johansson is super famous, and if she put out a clothing line, I'm sure it would do okay just because she's so famous, but she's not really a person that people are looking to as like a style icon or, you know, Ryan Reynolds on the, you know, men's side of things. Ryan Reynolds is cool. I think a lot of people like him, but nobody's necessarily looking to him as like the template for their lifestyle or style. So that's point number one, is to understand the difference between famous and influential. They're not the same thing. Like Adam Levine from Maroon 5 put out a guitar, a signature guitar, and I bet that thing sold like shit compared to someone like Misha from Periphery, who is not even a tiny fraction as famous as Adam Levine, but I bet you he sold more guitars than Adam, because within the realm of guitars, Misha is actually more influential than Adam Levine, despite the fact that Adam is way, way, way more famous. You don't have to be famous is the takeaway. The real opportunity is to be influential. And even if you can only be influential to a couple thousand people in some, you know, small niche, you can do something with that. Or, you know, Misha, again, is a perfect example of this. He's got a couple 100,000 fans around the world, which compared to a lot of these mainstream celebrities isn't a ton of people, but the guy has enough money to buy a fucking Ferrari because his fans really, really, really care what he thinks, and they trust him, and they'll buy anything that he puts out in front of them. Another thing she did, which I thought was super smart, is she worked with Adobe, the people who make Photoshop and Premiere and Illustrator and all that stuff. And again, why would Billie Eilish make sense for this? Because she is, again, the lifestyle model for any artsy young girl. And not to say that only girls, you know, are fans of hers, because I think she's one of these artists that is popular on, you know, with both men and women. But I would say that as far as like a lifestyle template, probably girls are her main audience. Think about who the future graphic designers or future fashion designers or future photographers, people are going to be doing that stuff full time in 7 or 8 years. They're Billie Eilish fans today, right? So it makes sense for Adobe to want to get plugged into that fan base now, so that when they go to college, they're going to major in photography or graphic design, and they're going to use Adobe products, and they're going to get started now because Billie Eilish endorsed Adobe when this person was in 9th grade. So I think this makes perfect sense from both perspectives. Like, it makes sense for Billie to partner with Adobe because they're a super credible mainstream tech brand. Very good partnership for her as far as the kind of opportunities it might unlock for her career and what it does for her brand. But like I said, this is a phenomenon that you're seeing a lot of people do. For example, this is Zakk Wylde's coffee. He partnered with this Death Wish coffee company to create Valhalla Java. He has an audience of people who worship him, right? I mean, he is one of the last true like rock star hero guitar icons, but more than that, you know, Black Label Society, it's like the Billie Eilish of like the 40, to 50-year-old like white guy that wants to be like the cool redneck biker dude with the vest and a beard and all that stuff. Zakk is their lifestyle inspiration, right? Misha is that for like the bedroom guitar gent nerd man-child guy that plays with Legos and has a $40,000 guitar collection. Thing number two is that notice that these are partnerships. Why is that noteworthy? Because musicians are not good at running a business. Even if they have a good mind for business, I've never met a musician that is like a really top-notch operator. And if you're not a great operator, then your business is not going to succeed. Zakk's talent is not running a coffee company. Billie Eilish's talent is not running an apparel company. Like, you remember a few years ago when like every guy in a metalcore band started a clothing company? How many of those ever went anywhere? I don't know. I can't really think of any other than Franz. Like Stay Sick, I think does pretty well, and Drop Dead, of course. And Drop Dead, I'm certain, has somebody behind the scenes that is actually the operator. Not to discount, what Ollie does by any means, but there's definitely somebody there that knows what they're doing and has been from the start. Obviously, I love DIY, but there's a point in which it doesn't make sense to do everything yourself. It makes a lot more sense to partner with somebody else and let them do the shit you're not so good at. Last thing I wanted to talk about is, to me, the template for the most successful example of this. There's one person that comes to mind, and that person is Kylie Jenner. She is the lifestyle template for any young girl right now, any girl under 23 or something like that. If you don't know who she is, look her up. She's famous as shit. So to make a long story short, about, 4 or 5 years ago, something like that, she started a company called Kylie Cosmetics, where she sells lip kits and whatever the fuck else she sells. Sold a shitload of product, and now the best part is she sold a 51% stake of it to a company called Coty for $600 million fucking dollars. This is Kylie Jenner, 22 years old. That is like one of the best entrepreneurship stories of the decade, especially for somebody so young. So I think there's a lot of people, especially young girls, who have noticed what she's doing, and also like Jeffree Star is another good example of that. Notice what they're doing, and they're like, I think I'm going to try to do that too. So I don't know if Billie Eilish in particular is inspired by Kylie Jenner. Probably not. She doesn't seem like she'd be a Kylie fan, but who knows? Either way, I think this is just really part of a larger trend of entrepreneurship that I find very interesting. And for those of us who are just somebody at home that's not famous, you're going, well, that's great for Billie Eilish and Kylie Jenner, but I'm just some guy or girl at home. I don't have 500 million followers. What am I going to do with this? Just like they connected with a very particular audience that represents a lifestyle, that's all you need to do. There's a guy named Kevin Kelly who wrote a book or paper about this called 1,000 True Fans a while ago. And the basic idea is this: if you have 1,000 people who will give you $100 a year for what you, that's $100,000 a year. Pretty much anybody would be happy to make $100,000 a year doing something that they're passionate about, right? So to me, that's the biggest takeaway from all this. Thanks to platforms like Shopify and Instagram and all this other shit, now you can connect with an audience of people that are like you, just the same as Kylie and Billie Eilish and Zakk Wylde did, and build a business just like they did. Maybe it's not going to be a $600 million business like Kylie Cosmetics, but that's okay. You can still do something pretty cool. Even if it's a $30,000 business, that's pretty fucking cool, right? And there's no reason that any of us can't do that. So hopefully that was interesting. Let me know what you think of all this in the comments. What I really want to know is, what would you do if you could start a company that kind of spoke to a niche audience in the same way that they have? What would you do? Let me know in the comments. Love to hear it, and I will see you next time.